some of the politicians I support, I would hope that you wouldn't sexually harass them. But the politicians that I don't like and that I think are destabilizing the middle class, go ahead, sexually harass them all. I hope you would do it some more.
Jesus. There's like a general trend in society of like, especially with all the red pill and everything online, with like treating women like shit everywhere. And it's just like, it's frustrating that these same types will cry and complain that every girl is turning into like an OnlyFans girl, et cetera, et cetera. But then you're looking at like, especially conservative men, and I'm trying to find where are the conservative men that respect women? They're not out there. They don't exist. So when conservative men, especially conservative men, because you'd expect progressives like me to be degenerate, but when conservative men are putting those kinds of vibes into the universe, conservative men have absolutely failed to live up to the conservative ideal of what it means to be a man. Yeah, I think we had a little bit of a conversation last time relating to some conduct of his around my favorite congresswoman, AOC. I think that it feels kind of weird to make an opening statement on this, so I'll say I think it's relatively non-controversial, but I don't think that we should be sexually harassing people out in public. I think it sets a bad precedent for future behavior. I think it's not fair to the people being sexually harassed, especially with somebody just trying to show up, work their job, and not have to deal with that kind of stuff on a day-to-day basis.
Alex Stein, yeah, and I mean, it kind of is one of those topics where it's just better to probably just jump right in rather than...
Yeah, well, let me do my opening on Primetime 99. Let me get it started, okay? So a little background on my story. My name is Primetime 99. I'm a little boy from Dallas, Texas that have grown up to be a big, large, powerful male. And in that transition from a boy to a man, I've realized, sometimes we have sex. Adults have sex. Sex is not that taboo. I grew up listening to Howard Stern, and at one point he used to throw baloney on women's asses. And, now he's kind of changed into a social justice warrior and doesn't do that. But, in the 90s, we lived in a time and era when political correctness was not the most important thing. But, of course, now we have a bunch of soy boys and political correctness that's ruining society and making comedy unfun. And I would say some of the best comedians of all time, Patrice O'Neal, it goes on, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle. I think in all of their comedy, they have sexualized women and made sexual jokes. So when you talk about Alex Stein, who am I? Why did I sexually harass AOC? Do you think I went there because I was so horny that I'm going to try to sleep with a congresswoman? And trust me, there's congresswomen that I could probably sleep with. You'd be surprised. I'm getting dialed in, but that's neither here nor there. Back to my point at hand. So you say, Alex, why did you go up to AOC and say, you're my favorite big booty Latina and you're very sexy? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because AOC has a pattern of saying the reason why people don't like her is because people want to date her. Well, guess what? I don't want to date her, but what I do want to do is I want to make her uncomfortable. Why, Alex? Why do you want to make a politician uncomfortable? Well, if you go to AOC's tweets, you can look up AOC uncomfortable. She said exactly what she said in her tweet, is that it's our job to make politicians uncomfortable, in reference to the protesters that went to Brett Kavanaugh's restaurant, Morton Steakhouse, and tried to protest him. So what she did is she called, very similar to what Saul Alinsky did in what is in the book Rules for Radicals. And what that is that's an unorthodox way in order to organize a community against politicians. And basically in the book, it describes the haves and the have-nots. Well, guess what? I'm a have-not. AOC is a have. Right now, if you look for net worth, it's roughly near $29 million. Now, I don't know how you go from being a bartender in Union Square to being a multi-millionaire, but it pays to be a politician. My point being, Alex, did you just randomly say you're going to sexualize her? False. No, I had this planned up before. Why? I'm Primetime 99 Alex Stein. The reason why I go viral is I go to city council meetings. I actually interact with politicians. Unlike anything, I'm not trying to throw shade to Destiny. I don't never seen him interact with a politician in my life, but neither here nor there. What I'm saying is I go and I talk to politicians to their face. And when I first started going to city council meetings, I spoke very earnestly about COVID-19 and some of the protocols that I disagreed with. And at that time, I got no interaction whatsoever from any of the politicians. But then I noticed once I got goofier, once I got crazier, the more and more it made politicians uncomfortable. And guess what? The more uncomfortable a politician got, the more control I had of the situation, because once you make them uncomfortable, they get nervous. Most politicians are very self-righteous. They're very self-important. And I'll tell you this much, these politicians, when they get elected, they forget that they get elected to work for us, not the other way around. We do not work for these politicians. So my point being is once I started calling them out, I turned these non-playable characters in the video game of life into playable characters. When you go into a video game and a non-playable character can be described as a character that you try to press your buttons with and it doesn't work, kind of like the fans in Madden. I'm not a big gamer, but in Madden, you can't make the fans really do anything. You can't press a button and make the fan jump or something. So those would be like the NPCs. Well, that's very similar to what these politicians are. But what I do in my culture jamming technique, which has got me on my biological father show, Tucker Carlson, has got me on Fox News multiple times and has got me viral multiple times, is I jam the most absurd parts of our culture in their face. Now you say, Alex, why did you say you're sexy? Why did you call her hot, hot, hot like a hot tamale? Well, that's because Madam lady of the whatever, Jill Biden, the first lady with the, whatever you want to call her, Joe Biden's handler or Joe Biden's nurse, Jill Biden, what she did, she had described the day before, described the Latinx community as breakfast tacos. So I thought, wow, she can personify people as food and even call Mexicans tacos. And guess what? Nobody says anything about racism. Nobody says anything about bigotry. So I decided I'm going to call AOC a hot tamale, because if you know anything about Mexican delicacies, the tamale is even more of a delicacy than the taco. It takes longer to prepare. It is given out on festivals and holidays. Here in Texas, we often eat them for Thanksgiving. So to call somebody a tamale is a huge compliment. It's even better than a breakfast taco. So if we have politicians if we have major politicians like the First Lady calling Hispanics literal breakfast tacos, then I thought, why don't I amp it up? Why don't I call the Congresswoman a hot tamale? Because that's even better. And you know what? The reason why I said a sexual connotation to her by calling her a big booty Latina, which in Texas is one of the best compliments you can give one, is because she said in a viral tweet where they took a picture of her fiance Riley's foot, and she said, everybody sexualizes us. My fiance can't even have a picture of his nasty feet in a pair of Birkenstocks without getting made fun of. And let me tell you something. Her fiance was right there. So if I sexually harassed her so bad, why did her fiance not turn his head, not say, hey, buddy? Probably because he's a cuckold. And I can tell with this debate, we have an expert in cuckoldry. So we'll get into that. But my point being is, just because I said a sexual term to a politician doesn't mean that I was necessarily trying to sexually harass her. What I was trying to do is evoke a response from her in an unorthodox way that nobody has done before. And guess what? It worked. It got her to create nearly 10 Instagram stories, go to the press, tell them to avoid me. And on top of all that, she went inside of the Capitol building, came out 3 hours later, and proceeded to throw the Capitol Police under the bus and say that the Capitol Police let the rioters in on January 6th. That is much bigger than me saying you have a big booty Latina where you're wearing a tight white dress, and she's definitely wearing a thong under that dress. There was no panty line. I was very close, and trust me, I was looking. My point being, to wrap all this up, me using my unorthodox techniques by saying big booty Latina had her go into such a spiral that she had to come out and admit that on January 6th, the Capitol rioters were let in. And let me tell you something, for anybody playing at home, if you thought the QAnon shaman in his helmet was going to walk into the Capitol and be able to decertify an election and write legislation that would have made Donald Trump the president, you are mentally ill, okay? Obviously, and you're even more mentally ill than the QAnon shaman. So my point being is this war, this culture war that we are in, we have to use unorthodox techniques. I am very unorthodox, so I'm going to continue to culture jam. And when politicians complain about being sexualized, I'm going to sexualize them, because I know that is where they get the most triggered. Just like the liberals get triggered, just like sometimes people on the conservative side get triggered. My job is to trigger the people that are in power, which I go after people on the right that I think are globalists that give $80 billion to Ukraine. You can look me up, calling out Ted Cruz, calling out Dan Crenshaw. So I'm an equal opportunity offender when it comes to going after politicians. It's not just some right-wing conservative bit. What it is I'm anti-establishment. So for you, yes, if her and I were working at Best Buy and I said to my coworker, oh, you got a big booty Latina. Yes, that is sexual harassment. But for me to call out a politician that is a multi-millionaire, that is the most popular congresswoman, other than probably Nancy Pelosi, you don't understand my methods. And I'll admit, they're a little chaotic, they're unorthodox, but you can't see my vision because you have never done what I have done. You have never walked a mile in my shoes. So everybody can be a Monday morning quarterback. Even Fox News, even Bill O'Reilly said that was perverted, yet Bill O'Reilly has paid millions of dollars in sexual harassment settlements. So everybody is a hypocrite. And on top of that, she is a big booty Latina. Thank you.
Destiny, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, do you think it's possible to make people uncomfortable without sexually harassing them?
No, it's impossible. In order to make somebody uncomfortable, you have to say you have a tight ass. Of course, Destiny. You think that's the only way or only method that I've ever made a politician uncomfortable?
Okay, cool. So then if we can find other ways to do it, do you think there are some ways that are wrong to make people uncomfortable? Would throwing bricks at politicians be okay? Because that might provoke a response.
Well, no, that's assault. See, that's an actual crime.
I didn't ask you if it was assault. I just asked you a very simple question.
No.
Okay, I'm going to repeat it when you finish rambling, so go ahead.
Of course, hitting somebody with a brick is uncomfortable. Of course, hitting somebody with a brick is uncomfortable, but I didn't hit somebody with a brick.
I never
and
said you
AOC,
did.
on top of that, what I'm trying to say is, what AOC did was she got the Capitol Police. She got the police involved. She called Capitol attorneys trying to see if I committed a crime. But luckily, in this country, we have a thing called freedom of speech. So I'm just saying, what I did, catcalling a congresswoman from the Bronx, where I'm sure she's been catcalled by every construction worker in the city, is not the same as getting a brick and hitting a politician with it.
Did I say it was the same?
No, but you're insinuating
Wait,
that.
if I didn't say, I'm not insinuating. If I ask you, let me finish. If I ask you if something else is wrong, does that mean I'm saying it's the same thing as the other thing? Alex, do you think that? Do you know what a comparison means when you compare two things?
I know, but we're comparing. We're comparing physical assault to catcalling.
Yep.
So
why do you think I'm making that comparison?
Because you're saying that there's levels of assault, I'm guessing, and that I could have thrown a brick at her?
No.
Well, then tell me.
Sure.
Tell me why you're making that comparison.
The comparison is that both of them are probably wrong. Probably shouldn't do either. You probably don't need to do either.
Don't you think one is less wrong and one is totally legal and one is a felony assault that would get you in jail for up to 20 years? Don't you think that there's a huge difference between catcalling and actually assaulting somebody with a brick and going to jail?
What do you think I think?
I would think that you would know that that's a big difference in comparing them is labeling in an unfair light that's not even like that. So I get what you're saying, but they're not even comparative.
Yeah, can you only compare two things that are the exact same, Alex?
No, you can't.
Okay,
obviously not.
Okay, that's good. That's fine. I'm trying to. We're getting through first grade. I'm trying to get you up to sixth grade so we can actually get the argument.
Oh, yeah, right.
So
Destiny,
through first grade,
I'm Primetime 99. Okay. I'm college educated. I'm a pimp on a blimp.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
This is a mental machine. This is a computer in my brain. You wish you had this.
Okay. So we acknowledge when we compare things, we're comparing two different things because they're not the same. So anytime I compare two things, of course, they're going to be different. So
yes,
good job, you figured that out.
Compare them like they're similar in a similar vein.
Yeah, they are in a similar vein.
We can be cutesy patootsy. I can be cute too all night.
They are in a similar vein.
We can play the cute. We can play the cutesy patootsy game.
They are in a similar vein, and that both of them are probably inappropriate actions that you could use to make somebody uncomfortable. So your justification that I did an action just to make somebody uncomfortable is insufficient, especially if you're doing something that you yourself admit.
False.
That you yourself admit.
Am
I going to get to finish after this rant? Am I going to get to finish after this?
Okay. Let him finish.
Sure.
Let him finish.
Your justification for engaging in sexual harassment, which you yourself admitted if you'd done to a fellow employee at Best Buy would be sexual harassment, was that I did it because it made a politician uncomfortable. Well, with that justification, you could do a whole host of actions to politicians, like throwing bricks at them. But we both agree that that would obviously be wrong, even though it would satisfy that condition of making somebody uncomfortable. So you're going to need another justification to do an action that you yourself admit would be immoral if you did it in any other circumstance in order to do it. So you have to tell me, why is it acceptable to harass female politicians sexually?
False. You don't understand nuance. It's a lot different than throwing a brick at somebody to make them uncomfortable than to catcall them, Destiny. Do you think that they are the same?
Did I say they were the same? Did I say they were the same?
No, I know. So you're saying that you don't like the form and the way that I made her uncomfortable, but I'm telling you it's a lot less uncomfortable to catcall somebody and call them sexy than it is to hit them with a brick and cause third-degree assault. You understand that, right?
Do you think I think they're the same thing?
No, but you're being
didn't I just spend 20 seconds?
You're
okay, that's fine. We can walk through it again.
The same thing.
That's fine. So we can walk through this again. Okay. So
we don't need to walk through it. You're trying
you just repeated the same argument. Can I finish my point? Can I finish my?
With catcalling.
I am comparing them. The comparison is that both of them are wrong. That's the comparison, and both of them would be wrong things to do to somebody. Do we agree with that?
Well, no, because she.
So sexual assault is okay sometimes.
Yes, it is. Because do you agree that she said that? Do you agree with me on this? That she said that we need to make politicians uncomfortable. Do you agree?
Do you think that when she said we needed to make politicians uncomfortable, she meant we needed to sexually assault or actually assault them?
I think.
Really?
I didn't sexually assault. I didn't sexually assault. Sexual assault and saying you are sexy are not the same, bud.
No.
Are you smart enough to realize sexual assault is not the same as sexual harassment, Destiny? You're too stupid. You don't even know the difference of those two things. You're trying to compare physical assault and sexual
Let me know when I
harassment.
get to finish this
That's
off.
how smart you are, Destiny. You think they're the same. Sexual assault and sexual harassment. I didn't sexually assault anybody.
When I said sexual, when I asked if sexual,
would you agree
yeah, of course. When I asked if you sexually assaulted, you said yes.
Assault anybody.
So the question is when AOC,
you didn't
sexually assault anyone. You sexually harassed somebody. You
Gentlemen.
sexually harassed somebody, not sexually assaulted somebody, right?
Okay, is assault and harassment the same?
Never said they were, but they're both wrong.
Are they? Okay, are they the same?
It's two different words. How could they be the same
well,
thing,
then you
Alex?
tried to insinuate that physical assault, throwing bricks, was just as bad as harassment, which they're two totally different things.
We're going to go back and we're going to do this same thing again, okay?
No, we don't need to keep doing this because you're being ingenuine when you're trying to make this argument.
Do you think that if I punch somebody and if I shoot somebody, those are both bad things?
I didn't do either. I
never said you did either. Alex, can you,
well,
what is your, this is like
that.
a 75 IQ. Like you actually can't follow like a simple question, right?
No,
so let me try one more time. Let me try one more time. Not trying to paint you anything. I'm asking you a very simple question. Very simple question. Is kicking somebody, is kicking somebody and shooting somebody, are those both bad things to do?
Yes.
Do you see how I compared those two things and I said both of them are bad even though they're different?
Okay, I have a question. Do you think?
Wait, no. I need to make sure that you understand. I need to make sure that you understand this. I need to make sure that you understand this.
Letting other guys come on your
Alex, I need to make sure you understand this. Alex, do you even have a girlfriend?
I understand.
Alex,
I got a bunch of girlfriends. I have more than one girlfriend.
Sure you do.
And guess what? My girlfriend doesn't get banged by other dudes.
Alex, if you've got multiple girlfriends, you have no idea what your girlfriends are up to. Number one, okay? Number two.
Let me tell you something.
Number two, just checking. Alex. Shooting somebody and kicking somebody are both bad, right?
Yeah, just like I think it's bad to let guys bang your girlfriend.
So if you have both of those things happening, you can compare them, even though they're not the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sexually harassing somebody and throwing a brick at somebody are both bad, right?
Not really.
Okay, so sexually harassing people is okay then for you.
Do you think it's bad when people sexually harass your girlfriend?
If somebody were to sexually harass her, yeah.
Well, I mean, when they send her like a DM like, hey, I want to fuck, and then she fucks him, is that sexual harassment?
Not if she consents to it. No, that's how that works. That's the difference between harassment.
Well, how do you know that? Wouldn't you agree that AOC consented at first? Didn't AOC consent at first when she first came over and peace signed me?
No.
Why didn't her boyfriend say anything? Probably because he's a cuckold.
Maybe because they didn't want to get into a fight outside the Capitol building. I don't know.
Oh, they thought we're gonna physically get in a fight. Sure, bud. Sure.
So you think that AOC wanted you to sexually harass her?
I think she liked it. Yes, because she came and she gave the peace sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of girls like sex. They like to be talked to dirty.
I didn't ask if a lot of girls like sex. You're telling me, just tell me, you think that a lot of girls like, there's no videos of my girlfriend talking about people being sexually harassed.
She talks about sexual stuff, about size matters. If you type in your girlfriend's name, she talks about a lot of sexual stuff. She talks about,
is there a difference between talking about sexual stuff and sexual harassment?
What's that guy? You're like in Europe or something.
Is there a difference between sexual harassment and talking about sex? Are those the same thing?
You think she's doing that to you?
Isn't that kind of weird for you to say that throwing a brick at somebody and sexually harassing them, I'm saying they're the same thing, and now you're telling me that having a conversation about sex.
So
but talking about sex and getting sexually harassed, that is the same thing.
Your judgment. You're talking about what I think is bad. I think it's bad that you let other guys bang your girlfriend. That's what I think is way worse than me saying you have a tight butt.
Now wait, all right, now let him get in on that. Now you put that out there. Go ahead, Destiny.
Yeah, no, they're not. It's not the same thing at all. The idea that somebody non-consensually sexually harassing you in public is somehow the same as you having a conversation about sex publicly. It's not at all the same thing.
I think you're a sexual degenerate because you let guys come on your girlfriend.
Yeah, that's fine. You can think I'm a sexual degenerate, but it's not sexual harassment.
Well, you think that. So you think what I did so bad. I think what you do is even more disgusting.
But it's not. What you do is actually more sexually degenerate because you're engaging in non-consensual sexual harassment. 100%. It's not even close. Your big booty Latina is more sexual degenerate than your girlfriend saying, "Hi, honey, I'm with another guy. I have his dick." Sure, if everybody consents to it. Yeah. Do you think sexually harassing women in public is okay, Alex? Alex, just answer the answer.
Justification.
Alex, do you think sexually harassing? Alex, do you think it's okay to sexually harass?
Yes, I think it's okay to sexually harass politicians. Do you think it's okay for other dudes to jizz on your girlfriend?
So I think the debate was over. I think the debate was over whether or not he sexually harassed AOC. It seems like he admits to it. So I don't know what we're even debating now.
No, do you think do you think it's okay for people to?
What is it? There's like I mean, if he thinks it's okay to sexually harass people, then I mean that's we've reached.
I said politicians. What about the distinction between she's a politician?
I said at Best Buy, no, but yeah, our politicians, yes.
What about the distinction? Hold on. What about the distinction that it's a politician? It's in front of the Capitol. It's not at a restaurant or.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of the earlier thing. Like you can find a lot of ways to harass people that's unethical. You can find a lot of ways to harass people that's ethical. You can go and protest in front of the Capitol. Let me finish. There's a lot of ways you can protest in front of the Capitol building that are totally acceptable ways of protesting. I don't think sexually harassing women is an acceptable way to protest. But if you think that sexual harassment is fine, that's fine. That's cool.
But Destiny, you understand what I was doing was activism, and it was a form of protest.
Doesn't matter. If throwing a brick at somebody,
but you do understand that
throwing a brick at somebody be a form of activism. That doesn't make it okay.
Do you think throwing a brick and saying you're a big booty Latina are the same thing?
I never said they were the same thing, Alex. You're
which
stuck in first grade.
Which is less bad?
Probably the sexual harassment, but it's still bad. Just like kicking somebody is less bad than shooting somebody. They're still both bad.
So you're telling me complimenting a woman's derriere is that bad?
Talking about another woman's sexual parts, yeah, when she doesn't consent to it in public is pretty bad. That's called sexual harassment, Alex. Welcome to the adult world.
No,
but you know this because you admitted you couldn't do it. If it was sexual harassment,
then why didn't I go to jail? Why didn't I get in trouble?
I don't think sexual harassment is illegal. I don't know if you go to jail.
Should it have been illegal what he did to the congresswoman? Because she seemed to imply that he should have been put in jail if it was a just.
I don't know what she implied. I don't care what she implied. I don't think it's illegal to like catcall people.
Okay, well, I'm asking you. Yeah, that's what. If you don't,
so it's not that bad to make laws against it. It's not bad enough to make crime, even though they have crimes.
I mean, there are things that are bad that probably shouldn't be illegal.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't say that you said that. I was just. wondering.
No, sure, yeah. It probably shouldn't be illegal to sexually to catcall somebody, but that doesn't mean it's not bad.
But see, the thing is, I'm just, guessing how you feel. I think you're just kind of being, fake outrage. You really don't care that I catcalled her.
Do I sound outraged right now? I'm not outraged at all.
A little bit. You're
the one that's like screaming like a soy queen throughout this entire conversation.
I'm
like, look at your face.
I know you're Primetime 99 screaming out loud,
obsessing over my. You sound like you know more about my girlfriend's sexual history than I do. Are you watching every stream, listening to every conversation, like jerking off in the background?
No.
Like all of our other viewers.
That's kind of open relationship.
Is that what you do? Do you go on Google?
guys.
So you just admitted that you go on Google and you type in Destiny open relationship and you sit there and pour through videos of my wife talking about her sexual exploits.
Them all. Oh,
that's
there's a bunch.
At least you're honest about it.
It's because it's very interesting because I would have never thought I'd ever know a cuckold that's a proud cuckold that has thousands of
and I never thought I'd talk to an adult human male that's telling me it's okay to sexually harass women in public.
I think being a cuckold is much worse. I think being a cuckold
I think engaging in non-consensual sexual activity publicly.
I imagine kissing Melina's lips after a dick was just on him is way worse than saying you have a big booty Latina. One of your 20 girlfriends that I'm sure are all, okay. Is that cat around you? Is that the girl you're making out with? You knowingly do that. Think about it. You pay for all of her stuff. You support her so she can go blow other dudes.
My wife works, dude. I don't know what you think I pay for. My wife works full time, my dude.
Okay,
she's more famous than you are, probably. She probably makes more money than you do. I'm sorry, but
well, first of all, good for her. I hope she does with all that dick sucking. She should make a lot of money.
She doesn't make any money sucking dick. That's what you do to your audience. That's what you do, Alex. Is your audience sucking everybody off? Okay.
But she talks about sucking dick. She has videos where she talks about size matter. She talks about.
She doesn't have to sexually harass people to get views online, which is.
Oh, she just has to talk about sex. Oh, that's better.
She just has to make sexual videos on YouTube.
Oh, that's much better. My girlfriend talking about the types of penises she likes to fuck is less sexual harassing than saying big booty Latina. Think about that. Your girlfriend's talking about the actual size of men's genitals and whether it pleasures her enough to orgasm is worse. That you think that's less bad than saying you have a big booty.
I think that talking about sex in your entertainment area is less bad than sexually harassing people. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, well, so should comedians not talk about sex? Do you think Patrice O'Neal ever sexually harassed anything? Any comment? Did he have any sexually harassing material?
Broad conversations about sex is different than pointing out somebody and sexually harassing them on the street.
Well, I mean, you and I are just going to have to disagree.
You're going to have to disagree on that? You think that's the same thing? You
think throwing a brick is the same?
No, wait, you already called it harassment. You already called it harassment.
Is not sexual degeneracy.
Do you realize that now that you sound like an idiot? Are you walking it back now? Because earlier you agreed. You said sexual harassment, it's okay. But now you're saying it's not even sexual harassment.
It's not. If in a certain context, if it was at Best Buy and it's to another employee, that would be. But to do it to a politician or a public figure, that is not the same. If I was to say Kimberly Guilfoyle has a nice ass, it's not the same as saying that to a coworker.
Walking up to them and saying to
what I was trying to get you to go in on with it. I'm not taking either side of it, but just the idea that a politician makes it different rather than a coworker or.
I don't think it's okay to sexually harass politicians. Just like I don't think it would be okay to assault politicians. Just because they're a politician doesn't mean that they lose like all basic human dignity or respect.
Well, that you and I disagree. I don't like politicians. I guess you suck politicians. But liking a politician is like thinking a stripper likes you.
No one here. Did anybody here talk about liking politicians? I don't remember anybody here saying anything about liking politicians.
Well, you think that we have to hold them to a higher standard or something? I don't know.
What I said is you treat them with a level of basic human dignity. You can do that to people that you don't like. That's part of being an adult. It's part of being a grown-up. Is treating people with respect even if you don't like them.
Well, do you think abortion is bad?
We're not talking about abortion right now.
Well, it is. It's because this is why she's a pro-abortionist. I think murdering babies is much worse.
Abortion. And I think that's great. And I think mutilating baby boys is bad too. But what, do you support circumcision? So there we go. Everybody's got their vices, but that doesn't
I
mean
didn't
you lose.
even hear
That doesn't
what
mean
you
that you
said.
lose all. That doesn't mean that you don't lose.
Yeah, but
Doesn't
you
mean that
like to
lose
murder
all
babies, so
basic-
you like abortion.
You have
Is that
no
what you're
idea.
saying?
You don't know what my stance on abortion is. You have no idea.
Well, I think that's context. Is that
It's not
AOC is
context
an
at all.
abortionist
No, I don't
that
think
wants
that's
abortion
context.
up till 9 months. So if there's going to be politicians that try to get in legislation to kill little babies, then I'm going to say stuff to them. Other than the woman that works at Best Buy who has nothing to do with abortion, I'm going to go after the politicians that can actually enact legislation that makes little babies die in the womb. I think abortion is sick and disgusting. My parents were not married when they got pregnant with me. Thank God they still had me. So for me, abortion is a big deal. People like AOC, who's one of the most popular abortionists, that says abortion is women's health care, literally wants to murder babies. So I'm not going to treat her with any level of respect because I think the murder of an unborn child is one of the most disgusting things that anybody can do. And there was a woman in California that was drunk, a nurse, and just killed 6 people. And one of those 6 people was a woman that was pregnant with a baby. Because I'm talking about
if you feel
how
so strongly about this,
do not deserve.
if you feel so strongly about this,
Abortionists do not deserve
man
the
up
same
and throw a
respect.
brick. Man up and throw a brick.
See, that's how dumb you are.
You just said that
I would never
AOC
physically
deserves
assault her and go to
absolutely
jail.
no.
I'm not a retard like you. I'm not going to throw a brick.
So everything you just said was posturing. It was all posturing.
I think AOC is the worst type of person in the world. She literally murders babies. Oh, but I'm too scared to throw a brick at her.
You're actually more scared than the 19-year-old white Antifa kids that run around vandalizing shit. You're just doing shit on the side to be goofy.
Because I don't want to assault somebody, I'm scared. Oh, if I was so scared, why do I actually go in front of politicians and talk about them? You and I are totally different. You're projecting because you're scared. You're the one that lets guys jizz on your girlfriend. You're the one that's too scared to say, hey, honey, do not do that. I don't want to share your pussy
I'm on too much of a
with
career
people.
upswing right now to waste my time on this conversation. We got to go somewhere else or
You're
do a Q&A
You're on
or
a
something.
career upswing?
Yeah.
Oh, give
Right
me
now
a
I am.
break. Oh,
Too
you
much-
got to
too-
be
way too
kidding.
much for this.
Oh, really? It's an internet debate, bro, that lets dudes bang his
What do you got?
fiance or
What do
whatever
you got
she is.
from me,
That's a
Ralph?
real big swing.
Now we do have some questions. Hold on a second. Let me turn.
Real
this.
big swing there, bud.
All right. Okay. Hold on. Let me. Let's see. Okay. Now some of these are substantive. Let me play this. Oh wait, you can't hear that for some reason, but it came up on the screen. Destiny, how can you judge Alex for this when you said the BLM writers were justified in destroying government property?
I think that rioting against government property is fundamentally different than attacking an individual. I don't think you'd be justified against killing a...
Oh, wait.
I feel like he's got like a whole like portfolio of soy faces that you've rehearsed to get like the most like fucking clicks on your fucking videos. It feels like you're constantly posing for like a thumbnail and like an, oh my god, look at what this SJW did. That's it. Do you live your life pretending you're a soy Wojak thumbnail? That's what you're acting like. Yeah, I think that rioting against government property is fundamentally different than attacking or harming individuals. I think those are 2 different things. You can think that both are unjustified, but at the very least they're different. And hey, listen, if you're unhappy with your government, you think the government's doing something wrong, I think that rioting against government property can be an effective way of showing that. But I don't think you should kill or attack politicians. I was answering Ralph's question, Alex. I don't know what the fuck.
I know, but I'd just like to clarify this. So you think it's okay to burn down a building, but to say that you're a big booty Latina is worse
I think that
than to burn down
I think burning down government property can be a valid way of protesting against the government.
What's worse? What's worse in your opinion? Burning down a building or saying you're a big booty Latina?
It's incomparable. They're two. These are 2
total
classifications.
You're trying to compare a physical assault and sexual harassment.
Yeah, I think those things are more like
what's worse.
We're talking about an attack on an inanimate. We're talking about an attack. We're talking about an attack. We're talking about an attack. We're talking about an attack on an inanimate object versus harassing an actual person. If you want to talk about attacking a person versus harassing a person, that's fine. But when I made the comparison between throwing a brick and sexually harassing somebody, both of those were actions that you can take to violate the autonomy of an individual. Now you're trying to get me to compare what's the difference between attacking a building versus doing something to an individual. That's a far different classification of comparisons. So don't try to hold my previous comparisons against me when both of those previous we're not talking about burning down buildings people living in. I would say that's wrong because you're attacking an individual.
Works there? What about a building somebody works there and then they can't go to their job anymore?
Who are you arguing against right now? Did the other guy here say something? Wait, Ralph, did someone here talk about burning down a building with somebody in it? Who said burning down a building with somebody in it?
It doesn't even matter if somebody's in it, but that building.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Wait, I thought you just said it did matter. I thought you just said it did matter if somebody was in it.
Do you think it's just an empty building? Do you think it's just an empty building and there's nothing in the building?
Do you think that are there government employees working at buildings at 1 a.m.?
What if there's a cat in the building? What if there's a cat in the building?
We're not talking about cats right now. I don't know. What if there are raccoons in the building? Who knows? I'm not sure.
When you burn a building, when you burn a building, do you think people get affected by it? Yes or no?
People get affected by everything you do.
Yeah, so burning down a building would affect people.
Yeah,
would
everything you
affect
do
autonomy.
affects people.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So you actually think burning down a building is less bad than saying
I said that
big
it's
booty
hard
Latina?
to compare
That shows how
violence
high IQ
against
you are.
an
You're
inanimate
so
object
smart.
against
You're
another
so
person. That's
smart.
crazy. Is it worse to kick a car or a person in the face? What if it's a really expensive car?
That's what you sound like right now. What's the next question,
No,
Rob?
that's not the case. What I'm saying is a building, people work there, so it does affect people. It does affect somebody's livelihood. The janitor that works there, maybe they get let off. Maybe they can't work anymore because of Antifa, because you encourage Antifa to burn down that building.
Yeah,
so
and
I
you
would think that
encourage
would
men to
actually
go out and
affect more
sexually
people.
harass politicians. I think that would affect a lot of people too.
Yeah,
Sexually
politicians that
harass
want to
women in
murder
general.
babies. Yeah, that want to murder babies and destabilize
Yeah, you're
our
so
country and
brave
make
against
gas
them wanting to
$1
murder
million
babies that you're
more.
willing to sexually harass them but not actually throw a brick. Why not, Alex?
Because I'm not an insane person. Because I don't encourage people to actually cause physical damage
I
to
think
people's
encouraging
lives.
people to go out and sexually harass women is pretty
I
fucking
understand
insane. That's pretty
nuance, which
insane.
you don't understand nuance.
yeah,
That's the
of
difference,
course.
Destiny.
What do
You
you
don't
say
understand nuance.
You encourage that type of behavior against women, and that is corrosive to society to do that sort of. I mean, I guess that's kind of what he's saying, right? That's encouraging boorish behavior. That you're getting all these views and stuff. What would you say to that type of criticism?
You talking to me?
Yeah, you.
That I'm getting views by doing this?
You're getting views. You're encouraging this sort of behavior, that it's increasing disrespect towards women, and trivializing their presence in politics, etc. What would you say? I mean,
I hope it does trivialize some of these liberal leftists, because their policies are terrible. Their policies are destroying America. So this is not some sort of black and white situation. It's very nuanced. Some of the politicians I support, I would hope that you wouldn't sexually harass them, but the politicians that I don't like and that I think are destabilizing the middle class, go ahead, sexually harass them all. I hope you would do it some more.
Jesus.
Well,
What's the next one?
okay, well, I'm trying to get some callers in here. I thought that we would have a little more steam before I need to get callers in. By the way, we have some codes. Bibble, are you still here? I see somebody else wants to call in as well.
I thought we were going to argue whether or not it was sexual harassment. I didn't know we were going to defend sexual harassment. I wasn't even ready for this level of degeneracy. Holy shit.
No, I know. You keep on saying degenerate. You don't think that that's weird being a cuckold?
that's the first time I said degenerate. You're the one that's obsessed with my wife's
you don't think
sexual activities.
Yeah, because I think that's so weird. I would never have that relationship.
Do you know what my position?
Do
you know what my position on abortion is?
Do you not have any jealousy?
Do you know what my position on abortion is?
I'd love to hear it.
So you spent more time researching my wife than me for this conversation. Can you admit that?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's much more interesting.
That's
she's much more.
That's
she's
very
much
funny
more
to me. I just think that's very funny. That's good.
Yeah,
but hey, I guess that's why she makes the big bucks. That's why she makes all the money, I guess. Is because she's got there's like the hopeless simps like you. The simps like you that are out there researching her videos. I can be one of those guys. It's cool.
Oh no, I would never want to hit that. That's gross. I'm sure her green card. She doesn't have any motivation to be with you while she's here in America.
Just the green card, and you absolutely don't want to hit it. That's why
you ever seen 90 Day Fiancé?
That's why you seemingly know every
Fiancé?
single thing about her fucking sexual past. You're sitting here obsessively looking at every single video.
Well, she talks about it a lot. I think that's very sexually degenerate.
How would you even know unless have
you
gone through hours of her videos? You going to the gym with her
not
podcast
hours,
in the background?
Not hours. You don't have to. You just type in
you come in like 2 minutes? Is that
and
why?
all the videos come up.
Just
it takes like 30 minutes.
And you're good to go?
It takes like 30 minutes to find out how big of a cuckold you are.
I'm glad you like viewing her shit.
It literally takes so little.
She makes a lot of money off guys like you, dude. It makes me happy.
I know. So think about that. You're trading money so dudes can bang your wife or your girlfriend or whatever she is.
Obsessing over her, and then we're using that money to buy dinner. How crazy is that? What a weird world we live in. What do you got, Rob?
Good.
What's our next question?
I'm happy that the sexual degeneracy of your girlfriend pays for your Olive Garden. Awesome. You're winning big, bud. Are you winning? No, the dad meme. Are you winning?
Alex, do you think you're obsessed with other people's wives because you're not married yet? Alex, wait, how old are you?
Listen, I can be married if I want to be married. I don't want to be married. I'm single, ready to mingle. Okay, so you guys, you don't think that I sleep with any girls. You don't think that I can get any pussy.
Alex, how old are you?
I'm 35.
35 and you're not married yet, and you're bragging to me about getting pussy? Really? 35 years old in that suit?
Destiny. Yes, and I bang chicks, believe it or not.
Sure
yes, and guess what? The chicks that I bang, I don't let them go. I don't date them. The chicks that I'm banging, I don't date them. Let them live under my roof and then go blow random dudes on the internet because I don't date e-thoughts like you. So you're a bigger sexual
it sounds like right
than
now you don't date anybody because you're more fascinated with my wife than getting one of your own. So, but hey, listen.
No, because I don't want to get in a relationship with one of these whores like you and get used and abused like you and look like a cuckold all over the internet, like a little cuckold.
Some callers. We got some callers. We do have the trans topic too that I floated to both of you guys. If you want to delve into that some, I don't know. I know that it wasn't the topic, but if we wanted to add some more time onto the,
I think he spent too much time researching my wife and being poor rather than actually doing any research for this. So I don't think.
It's funny that's what you
I don't think.
being poor.
The reason I thought that'd be
I don't think it'd be a very productive conversation. You know.
I'm so poor, Destiny. Wait, can you please send me a super chat so I can have some money so I can afford dinner?
This guy.
Maybe I should just let somebody bang me like your girlfriend does so I can afford dinner. Let me spread my legs.
Look at this guy. No pants on.
Dinner, honey.
Oh,
Let's go get some dinner. I just let a guy jizz on me.
Oh my! I think the reason why this guy's cat's having kidney problems because he didn't have money to take him to the vet because he's spending all of his extra cash on OnlyFans. I think that's what's going on in this conversation.
My cat is 18 years old.
I think that's what's going on. 18 years old.
My cat.
18-year-old cat.
That's your pussy before you worry about my pussy.
18-year-old cat. 18-year-old cat. Is that 5 times longer than a relationship with your cat than you've ever had with any woman? Do you think that'd be accurate to say? Regardless of the people online.
You've dated somebody for 18 years. You've dated somebody for 18 years.
I said 5 times longer, 3 or 4 years. What do you think, Alex?
Have I ever dated girls for 3 years? Yes, I've dated girls for longer than 3 years. Yes.
Well, what happened? Why did the relationship end? Why didn't you hold on to it? Why aren't you married yet? Why are you
Because
35 years old with a green screen background?
Let me tell you something. You show me a hot girl, and I'll show you a guy that's tired of fucking her. You don't understand that because you have a girl that you're not fucking, so she has to go fuck other guys because you can't sexually pleasure her enough.
You haven't been with a girl long enough to get tired of her.
That's
you haven't even made it to that stage of a relationship.
That's not true. That's provably false. Yet you know that your girl is not sexually pleasured by you enough. She has to go run off and fuck other guys.
Keep talking about my wife. You've talked about her more than you've talked about me. It's so funny you've watched so much of her content. I hope you're not using an ad blocker at least. Are you shooting in super chats to her as well? What do we got, Ralph? What's the next question?
She's welcome on the kill stream as well. All right, now.
Bring her on. Bring her on. Please, get her on. Please. I would love that.
On the kill stream. I don't know. Let's take it. Just shy. Go ahead. You're on. Can you hear me, caller? You have to unmute yourself. We have some callers.
Yo.
Yeah, what's up?
Yo, you there?
Yes, I'm here. What's up?
Hey, I just wanted to call in to ask what Destiny's definition of harassment was.
That's a good question, actually. Yes. Thank you so much for asking that.
I'm pretty confident.
I should ask.
Yeah, because I'm pretty confident that you have to say no in order for it to be harassment. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Yeah, that's absolutely not true. I would say that, like, broadly speaking, sexual harassment is bringing unwanted sexual attention to somebody. So making comments about their body, talking to them like about sexual things when they're not inviting the conversation. I would say sexual harassment, broadly speaking. At least verbally it is.
What about you, Mr. Stein? What would you qualify as sexual harassment?
Well, I think if you actually cussed at her, like I say, I think big booty Latina is not as bad. But if you ask AOC, she said that I said that she had a juicy ass. I didn't say either of those words. And I said hot tamale, which Jill Biden literally called Mexicans breakfast tacos. So I think that was okay. I don't think that I reached the level of actual harassment, in my opinion. But if I was to say, like, ooh, let me sniff your butthole or something, yeah, that probably would have been actually harassment.
Do you think the language, the level of the language changes it?
Of course. 1,000%.
But what do you think if it's a little bit more PG, like he said there, that he's kind of, and he was laughing when he said it too. What I mean, what's the line there? If he had done it in a different way, was there a way for him to kind of sexualize her and it'd still be okay, or is anything like that out of bounds?
Who are you asking me?
Yeah.
No, any unwanted comments of a sexual nature about somebody is probably sexual harassment. It's probably not okay. There's no reason to go there. There are so many other ways that you can pressure somebody, make somebody uncomfortable, or get somebody's attention, rather than trying to be a shock jock and getting views on TikTok and YouTube by being a piece of shit. But
oh, really? Oh, you're the moral authority, huh? Is that what you are? Are you the moral authority, Destiny?
I don't think I go out sexually harassing women for views. So yeah, I would say in this regard, I am the moral authority.
For views, your wife or your girlfriend just gets sexually harassed.
My wife doesn't get views for my stream. We have 2 totally different streams, 2 totally different jobs. I'm glad that you're still bringing her up.
Yeah, but she pays for your food, right? She pays for your dinner with her pussy?
No, I make more money than her, but...
So you buy the dinner? Because you just said earlier that she buys you dinner.
Only with the money she makes from simps like you. Those are our celebratory desserts.
Well, I've never paid her. I've just watched her free content.
You pay one way or another. They all do. I'm seeing your type. Don't worry.
Think about that, Destiny. That you think that's cool that you pimp out your girlfriend.
I'm not pimping her out. She earns her own money. That's her money. It's not a pimp. I don't earn that.
Look how you talk about that with joy. You sound like a literal evil pimp.
I'm not
You're
an evil
laughing,
pimp.
like,
How am I a pimp?
I love the Sims. I love the Sims. They give my girlfriend money.
The funny thing is when I get little guys like you that are in here that are obsessing over here, acting like you're better than me.
I'm 2 feet taller than you, Destiny.
Yeah, and still somehow a smaller man. How crazy is that?
How tall are you, though, Destiny?
Tall enough that I don't have to sit here and Google images of any girl you've dated and talk about coming on them for 5 minutes.
But because you're the one that's like happy that you're pimping out.
I didn't come here to talk about my wife at all. If you wanted to talk about her career, why not go contact her?
It's relevant.
It's not relevant at all.
Because
nothing that we do has anything to do with sexually harassing people in public.
Well, then why do you put it all on the internet?
I don't put anything on the internet. That's her life. That's her choice. That's not my shit.
Okay, type in Destiny open relationship. There's so many videos. There's
hold on. Do you think that I write the search results on Google?
I'm just saying there's tons of it. There's just tons of footage. There's hours and hours and hours of footage.
If you want to talk to her about her job, go send it a super chat or go subscribe to OnlyFans.
Well, I know, but I'd love to have her. Why don't you bring her on this chat? Why don't you bring her on here?
Well, I wasn't the setup debate. I mean, I don't. Let me take a caller here. Now, what about? I guess I could. I'm trying to think of a way to tie that in. I mean, does she? Of course, she's not here. But I mean, I'm assuming she gets sexually harassed. I mean, in our streams and stuff like that. Like, what about that? Is that like?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that kind of sexual harassment is generally wrong. I would say, well, in most cases, yeah.
Okay.
Probably not good to sexually harass people. Yeah.
All right, that's fair. All right, let's take another call. I'm trying to look for
maybe Melina have an OnlyFans?
I don't know. Go search for it.
All right, go ahead.
Yes?
Shoot her a DM on Instagram and go find one. Maybe, who knows?
Is that a yes?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's her job, not mine.
So you date a porn star? Oh, that's not sexually degenerate.
Go check.
Hey, how about this? Do you think selling naked pictures of your butthole is less sexually degenerate than saying a big booty Latina?
I don't believe in sexual degeneracy, but if I did believe in sexual degeneracy, sexual harassment would be way above selling booty pics.
Oh, then selling your butthole on the internet?
Yeah, it would be. It'd be way above it. It'd be
See, that's
way
how
above
lost.
it.
Think about that. Selling nude pictures is less degenerate.
Things like non-consensual sexual
booty.
activities to me are pretty degenerate. You know, that's how I view it. But hey, listen, when you got the type of face like yours, the only way you're gonna get pussy is if you rape somebody or drug somebody. I can understand why you feel that way. You know, that's fine, dude. That's how it is. That's okay,
Destiny,
man.
You're dreaming. That's your argument. You have a girlfriend that sells her pussy for a living, and you're trying to tell me I can't get any. I can go buy your girlfriends for $4.99. So
I have never met a man. I have never met a man that fucks women that obsesses over my wife so much. I can see virgins from a mile away, and you've got like the virgin beacon, like shining on the top of that bright fucking forehead. That huge forehead is screaming, virgin, virgin.
You think your girlfriend selling her vagina on the internet is less degenerate than saying big booty Latina? Go figure, bud. You're really based in reality.
I know, we're pretty crazy over here in my world. We are pretty anti-sexual harassment.
That's disgusting. That's gross.
I agree. Sexual harassment's fucked up, 100%.
No, it's gross to sell pictures of yourself naked on the internet. That's sad. That's probably the victim of sexual abuse. A lot of people that do that were sexually abused at one point in their life.
Wow, by people like you? What, do you have a lot of ex-girlfriends that sell booty pictures or something?
Well, you sell pictures of yourself or to do pornography.
You harass them too. It's like the next step. Why not go over there?
Most people that do pornography, Destiny, were sexually assaulted at one point in their life. So I feel sorry for you.
What about people that are narcissistic attention whores? What are their problems in childhood? Why don't you tell me?
Well, you can call me an attention whore. I don't care. Maybe I am. I agree to that.
Well, I guess we're all whores one way or another then, huh? What's up? What's the next question?
Yeah, but I don't spread my butthole on the internet for $5.
Close enough.
All right,
no, it's not the same. It's not.
I mean, you're getting pretty reamed right here, so yeah. What do you got, Ralph?
I'm getting reamed. You're the one getting cut.
There's the soy face again. There it is.
Look at your chat. You're the one that's getting reamed. You're the one that's getting reamed.
Hold on, Bibble. Go ahead, please. God, say something.
Okay, so first I have to disagree with Alex Stein. AOC did not say that you said she had a big juicy ass. She said that you told her she had a big juicy booty and a big ass. And look at that big ass.
By the way, remember...
yeah, you're technically right. That's what she said, but I didn't say those stuff, and you know that.
Said that she had a big, she's his favorite big booty Latina. So also, I have to disagree with Alex Stein on that.
Fair. I just want to say this.
Disagree.
I just want to say this. Remember, you're part of the moderator team here when you're asking. I just want to be clear. You know that already, but go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm a caller, sir.
Okay, you want to be a caller? All right. Okay, he's a caller then now. He did. Okay, fine. Be a caller. Go ahead.
I have to disagree with Destiny as well. I think politicians being sexually harassed is okay. I think that politicians should be harassed in every way, sexually, mentally, spiritually. I think politicians are inherently evil. And I think if they do evil things like AOC does, I think that it's not only the right thing to do, it's the moral thing, and it should be something that people are encouraged to do, to sexually harass them. And also, I'd like to say, please watch cozy.tv/Bibble Sundays, every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Avon Chartsdale on Twitter, Boss Bibble on Twitter. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
I appreciate you, man. By the way, I guess, what about the whole idea of, and I guess it was kind of alluded to earlier, and we got some more callers too, but about making politicians uncomfortable. I do hear that on the left. I guess just what's the line there for you, Destiny? I mean, obviously sexual harassment, but are some other things?
Destiny thinks it's okay to burn down their office.
So personally, I'm not a fan of personally harassing people ever. I don't know if it sets a good precedent to like find politicians in public and protest them. I don't like the idea of like protesting outside their houses. I think that like personal stuff, I think that protesting outside a place of work is okay. So if you want to go to like City Hall, or you want to go to like the Capitol building, you want to protest.
I was outside of her work.
I think it's okay. Not sexually harass them, you degenerate fuck. That's disgusting. There's a difference.
You think burning down their house? Okay, I'm disgusting. Your girlfriend's
I think that.
On there.
I don't know how I feel about like going and finding politicians in real life and harassing them. That seems a little bit not good to me. I don't think it sets a good precedent.
All right, Big Tech, go ahead then with your call real quick, and then I'll go to the other callers. Go ahead.
Yeah, caller. Big fan, both of you guys. Big fan, Destiny. Big fan, Alex Stein 99. I'm on team Alex Stein here on this one, but my questions are for Destiny. I actually got two questions. First question, if I could, if you remember when Stormy Daniels went around doing the circuit, and I think she went on the Late Show with what's his face, and she even brought out like a physical prop and did a display talking about her sexual experiences with Donald Trump, and showed a model of different mushrooms and pointed to the one that looked the most like Trump's penis. Was that, in your opinion, was that sexual harassment of Donald Trump?
I'm uncomfortable answering because I haven't seen it, but if it is as you describe it, yeah, I would say that's pretty weird. I'd probably sexual harassment, yeah. I don't know why. I don't think there's ever like a valid reason to go out and like start talking about like other people's like genitals and shit. I think it's really weird, not good.
Yeah, so technically, generally like in the workplace or in social situations, like the retelling of sexual exploits that somebody wouldn't want to be made public, we would typically consider that sexual harassment. So then if that happened by your metric, then really like the Late Show that put on that big segment, they would essentially be themselves liable for sexual harassment against the president.
Yeah, do you expect me to disagree with that?
No, I'm just checking in. Okay, so cool. Yeah, so then I mean, from your perspective, I'd say that the logic would follow. So then, second question, follow-up, with defamation and slander, as we know, there's different standards for private personalities, private people versus public figures. Mm-hmm. So people who are in the public, politicians, actors, whatever, entertainers, people who are publicly known. The difference is where if someone in the private sector wants to sue for defamation or slander, all you have to prove is really that the person was negligent about the facts that were shared publicly about them, and you can actually win a lawsuit against them. But a public person, you have to prove intent. That's the difference of the standard as far as I understand it legally. So you have to prove some sort of willful intent to do malicious harm, either by lying or getting the facts wrong in what you're sharing about the person. Would you say, as I would, that there's a different standard that we could then apply to a public personality like AOC in lampooning them like he did? Wouldn't like the burden of proof be on you that Alex here has malicious intent to actually like make a sexual inflict sexual harm upon her with his comedy act that he did? Do you think that he did that and his actions met that standard of intentionally doing harm to her?
No, I think that those are two fundamentally different things that aren't to be compared to each other. In 1964, there was a Supreme Court case called the New York Times Company versus Sullivan, and this was the case that laid out the standard you're talking about for suing public figures for defamation, or for public figures suing people publishing stuff about them for defamation. It's called the actual malice standard. The reason why this standard exists is because we don't want to create an environment, a media environment in the United States, where media companies are too scared to report on politicians or public figures because some piece of information might at some point be incorrect. You don't want to create that chilling effect, right? You want people to feel like they can publish stuff about powerful figures. However, I think it's okay to create a chilling effect around sexual harassment. I don't think we want to create an environment where sexual harassment is okay or acceptable.
Chilling effect. Okay, so if AOC, I mean, if Alex and I feel from our perspective like the main reason that she's in there is because she's a hot little piece, not because of her qualifications, but because she's a sexy bartender, right? And so if we point that out in public, should we feel like a chill? Like we should be afraid to lampoon that fact that to us seems ridiculous and outlandish. Shouldn't we be able to make fun of things like that we think are funny?
You can make fun of whatever you want. Making fun of something isn't necessarily the same as sexual harassment. There's a difference between going up to somebody and making your sexualization of them their problem versus telling jokes to your friends or saying, I think she only got elected because she's hot.
Well, that's what I think. I can't speak for Alex, but I think that that's what me and my buddies think. And so what I saw Alex doing, the way that came across to me, my perspective, he was making fun of her. He was making fun of her for being...
What you're talking about is fundamentally different. Me saying to my friends, I think that AOC only got elected because she's hot, is different than me going up to AOC and saying you've got a juicy Latina booty or whatever.
I never said. I said big booty Latina. I never said juicy.
Big booty Latina.
Hey, but I have to ask this question though, Destiny. Do you think it's sexualization of a children to do drag queen story time?
I don't think you're prepared to have that conversation. I don't really want to go into it.
Well, I'm saying she supports drag queen story time.
I don't really care. We're not here talking about drag queen story time. That wasn't on the emailed list of topics for me. That just shows you can't talk about this subject because you're afraid of getting crushed in the debate. That's why you're scared, Destiny. You run away from a topic. But but let me just say this, Ralph, is the same person, AOC, that complains about sexual harassment wants drag queens to be able to sexualize children at drag queen for story time. The state of New York spent nearly $1 million for public libraries to have drag queen story time for children. So in my opinion, I think that that's much worse and much more degenerative sexually to have children be read story times by men dressed in thongs in a library. And so she is the same person that champions this drag queen for story time. So for her to act outraged that I said big booty Latina just shows you that she's a hypocrite that doesn't care about the sexualization of children. And when it happens to her, she can't play by her own rules. You are scared, Destiny.
Now, to be fair, that wasn't on the list. We did have the trans topic on the list. Let me read some of these.
I'll debate anything, anytime with you, Dusty.
All right, now Cyclops says, Destiny, words are not violence. Alex explained to him that words are not violence. What do you say?
Nobody's saying words are violence. Sexual harassment doesn't necessarily have to be violence. It can still be sexual harassment, though.
Yeah, I don't think he said violence, to be fair. Partisan Hack says, Destiny is using a common rhetorical argument called the Mott and Bailey. It didn't work, and now he is triggered. Alex won, and is funny as fuck. Common. Richard L. Crack Dealer says Alex used edginess as a means of political activism. That's what he does. DGG actually lusts for these female politicians. They spam Coomer emotes in Destiny's debate with Tulsi. By the way, I'm hearing some echo all of a sudden. Destiny himself has fantasized about AOC. Well, who hasn't, to be honest? But who is the true degenerate? What do you say to that? They said your people are lusting over these balls. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen any of that. I don't know. I'm not saying it's not true, by the way. I just haven't.
Can I ask this question? What's worse, porn or sexual harassment, Destiny?
The sexual harassment
is worse than porn?
Yeah, I would say that.
Turbo Chad said Destiny's getting on. He's trying everything. All right, now I'm looking for some questions too. We have some callers. Let's see. Destiny is pumping and dumping Twitch ethos, not degenerate behavior. Objectification and sexual harassment are not the same thing. Alex used a bit of theatrics in politics. That politics inherently is theatrical. Is what he said. What do you say to that? And they use theatrics.
You can be theatrical without sexually harassing somebody. I don't know why that's
Well,
so
there's
hard
a
to
million
understand.
different
Like, there's a
ways
ton of
to-
ways
listen,
you can
there's
be theatrical, but it doesn't have to be in the form of sexual harassment. It just seems kind of strange when you're sitting here like obsessing over like, should kids go to drag queen story hour, blah blah blah. But then the example you're setting for people is you want to get people's attention. You need to objectify and sexually harass women. That's just a really weird.
Yeah, because
double standard to me.
they're sexualizing children, so I'm going to sexualize.
So you're going to
the
sexualize
politicians
them?
that sexualize
How does that even
children.
make sense?
Yeah,
they're doing
because
something
I'm
wrong,
using-
so I'm going to do
it's
something
called
wrong
culture
too.
jamming.
No, it's called two
jamming.
wrongs
The
don't
most
make a
absurd
right.
parts of-
It's called two wrongs don't make a right. You can't
That's
just do
not
fucked
what
up
I
shit because
do.
that's exactly
That's not
what you
what I do.
That you
When
just
I
said it. You
go-
said you're doing it because they're doing it. That's what you said.
No,
They're doing something
no, the
bad, so
reason-
I'm going to do this thing. Did you not
Destiny,
just say
let me
that?
explain myself.
Wait, did you
Can
not
I
just say
explain
that?
myself?
Alex, did you just say
Can
that?
I explain
Did you just
myself?
say
No.
that?
Can I explain
Oh, he's not
myself?
going to say what he
Destiny?
just said. Okay.
Can I explain myself? Let me just explain
I'm
myself.
going to jump from one topic to the next, dude.
No, because when I talk about sexualizing her, it's very similar to one of the most viral videos I had was prayers for Ukraine. And in that video, I sounded like the mainstream media and talked about how we need to kill Vladimir Putin. Now, another viral video that I had was not as big as that, but got millions and millions of hits was the vaccine route, the Fauci ouchie. So that is what I'm doing. I'm doing the same thing that they talk about in the mainstream media, like sexualizing our children or drag queen story time, or the murder of Vladimir Putin, or how many vaccines you need to get. And I'm throwing that in their face. That's called culture jamming. So what I did was not an accident. It was not a perverted thing. It was a calculated act that I thought of before doing it in order to jam it in her face because she
We all
sexualizes
understand
children.
that. Yes, you chose intentionally to sexually harass her. We've heard you say this a million times, so we got it.
All right, now let's see. There was another question here. Now, this one, I mean, some of them are anti-Destiny, obviously, but Destiny's a degenerate fake ally to women,
Base.
pro sex work, barely disguised misogynist who will probably cop a charge. I'll just say that they said some things, but at least Stein and Gunt, I don't know who that is, do not make any bones about their issues with women. What do you say to that, Destiny? If you want to answer, we got some.
Do you think I'm going to be a future rapist? I don't think so, but
they said, yeah, it wasn't rape, but
you know,
yeah, something fucked up like that. Yeah. All right, let's take some callers. I'm trying to find like this guy says, I love Destiny. I don't know if that's true or not. I would like a pro Destiny caller, t.me/the Ralph Retort. In all seriousness, because I know of course, my audience is going to be a little bit more anti-Destiny. So if we could get a couple pro Destiny guys in there, that'd be cool. Go ahead. I love Destiny. You're unmuted.
Hey, I just wanted to ask Destiny a question. So let's say he had like a Rick and Morty portal dimensional thing where you go to a different dimension, right? Where his woman wasn't passed around by a bunch of black people and, used. Or would you rather have the same version of her, but as a virgin and ready to marry and settle down?
I would never marry and settle down with a virgin in my entire life.
All right. Well, that was a quick answer. Okay. I
thought you're Muslim. Are you not Muslim, Destiny?
Why would you think I'm Muslim?
No, just you have Muslim vibes, I thought.
Okay.
Wow. I was about to say, damn, I didn't even know that. Okay.
Here's jihadi vibes. That facial hair.
Thanks.
All right. Now let's okay, let's see. Okay, let's try this one. R. Henry, go ahead. You have to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello.
I got a question for Destiny. So, did you see what AOC was wearing?
I did see what AOC was wearing. Yeah, it was a dress.
Shoot, a mini skirt, though, a mini dress.
I think it's more.
Was it mini? Was it a mini dress?
Well, it was above the knees. I think in high school that would have been illegal in my school. Your dress had to be below the knees.
Don't you think that's wrong for her to dress that way to work, especially as a
I don't
politician?
think so. No,
You are.
I don't think so.
I thought you're Muslim, Destiny. Don't you want her to wear a burqa?
All right, let's take another caller.
Okay, Ralph, I got like one more of these left to me. Okay.
No, I'm trying.
Pick a good one.
Are you rage quitting yet, Destiny?
Pick a good one.
Mikey, Darko. Look, that's the other thing. I'm kind of picking them blind here. Mikey, Darko, go ahead.
How's it going, guys? I just had a question for Destiny because it seemed like his whole argument at the beginning was hinged on this like rhetorical trap he was trying to do with comparing throwing a brick with the sexual harassment. I just wanted you didn't get to wrap it up. You didn't get to spring the trap. And to me, it seemed like that whole line of argument was weak at best and disingenuous at worst. They're qualitatively different. It's like you guys were talking about burning down buildings earlier with the BLM riots. It's like comparing burning down a building and TPing a house. Like, it's qualitative different.
You understand that the point of a comparison is to take two different things and compare a similar quality, right? Like, anytime you make a comparison, it's going to be between two things that are qualitatively different.
There's a difference in the quality in which the comparison that you set up is so absurd that at best
it's so absurd. Can you explain why they're absurd?
Because physical assault.
Hold on, no, I want the quasi philosophy bro in here to tell me why it was an absurd comparison.
No, I'm not philosophy bro. I'm saying physical assault with a deadly weapon is not the same as jokingly saying my favorite big booty Latina. That's qualitatively different in the quality in which.
Yeah. Do you think two things have to be the same to compare them, or do you think you can compare two different things?
Yeah, but they're such opposite ends of the spectrum. They really don't deserve to be compared.
We're not talking. It's a color.
Exactly. They're opposite ends of the spectrum. It doesn't make sense. It's weak or disingenuous or both.
Do you think that there might be some commonalities between physically assaulting somebody and sexually harassing somebody? Do you think there might be anything in common with those two things?
Not really.
Saying that the two things are bad is not comparable enough to, or they're not. The quality of two things are bad is not enough to justify such an extreme difference between the things you're comparing.
Okay. Do you think that if I took two completely different things that were both illegal and I put them on the same list, like let's say smoking marijuana and serial rapist, okay, if I put both these things on the same list, is it okay that I have them on the same list even though they're totally different because they share in common the fact that both of them are illegal? So if I was having a conversation about illegal things, I could bring up smoking marijuana and raping somebody even though they're completely different?
No, I understand what you're saying.
I need you to answer that question. I'm trying to walk you very slowly. So can you tell me, can I describe both of those things as illegal and compare them as such? Somebody says, wow, you did an illegal thing like smoking marijuana or raping somebody. Those are both illegal things, are they not? Even though they're totally different, they have that in common, yes?
Yes.
So if somebody says, I'm going to apply pressure to somebody, a politician, by doing an act that would otherwise be considered morally wrong, do you not think it's okay for me to say, well, what about another morally wrong act that would also result in you applying pressure to them? Both acts, both assaulting somebody by throwing a brick and sexually harassing them, both of those things would satisfy the component of applying pressure, and both of those things would ontologically belong to the classification of things that are considered wrong. That's the comparison.
Come on, Destiny. You're better than this, man.
Do you understand?
You are better than this.
Destiny, so you've lost. You fell off the train.
Really doing yourself an injustice.
You fell off the train. I tried my best.
You're better than this, Destiny. This is your worst performance.
I can't do like second grade. Like, what's the difference between a simile and an allegory? What's a metaphor? What's it like? I can't.
This will be clipped. This will be clipped forever on the internet.
I tried my best. I really did try my best.
Now you got cucked on the kill stream, is what they'll say.
Okay.
Now,
on the kill stream.
Let me ask a question to you, Destiny. What got your what got your attention with this in the first place? Were you like, I mean, as far as the AOC, did you just see it like everybody else, or?
There's like a general trend in society of like, especially with all the red pill shit and everything online, with like treating women like shit everywhere. And it's just like, it's frustrating that these same types will cry and complain that every girl is turning into like an OnlyFans girl, et cetera, et cetera. But then you're looking at like, especially conservative men, and I'm trying to find where are the conservative men that respect women? They're not out there. They don't exist. So when conservative men, especially conservative men, because you'd expect progressives like me to be degenerate, but when conservative men are putting those kinds of vibes into the universe, yeah, I'd expect every girl to be an OnlyFans girl. If you're going to walk out and talk about some politician's ass, then why wouldn't other girls think like, oh, fuck, well, if that's how men see me, maybe I should just open up an OnlyFans. People like Alex Stein are going to harass me anyway. Did you just admit that you're a sexual degenerate? Did you just admit that you're a sexual degenerate? That's the only thing you took from it. But that's the issue why I think this particular topic is a little bit irritating. Because
I think that the biggest
failure that you can see right now in society is that like you can make fun of progressives for all that you want, but listen, they're crazy and they admit they're crazy and they do their crazy shit. But conservative men have absolutely failed to live up to the conservative ideal of what it means to be a man.
Destiny, you literally think burning down a building is better than saying you have a big booty to a politician. So you're not based in reality. We have a lot of issues like abortion. You look at the mass vaccination. You look at the sudden adult death syndrome.
None of that has anything to do with anything I said.
Yes, it does, because the politicians are in charge of this.
As soon as you feel like you're losing ground on a topic,
Destiny,
you've got
it's
like
not
15
that.
different
No,
rehearsed
Destiny,
lines that you've used in
no,
viral videos
it's
that you want to spit
nothing's
out,
rehearsed.
but it has nothing to do with the
Destiny,
conversation.
I'm going after politicians. You've never talked to a politician in your life.
I literally
That's the
just did an
difference
event
between
where I
you and
interviewed
me.
Tulsi
talk to them
Gabbard for
all
like
the
30
time.
minutes. Like, that's
What
great
I'm
that you
saying-
think that talking to a politician is standing outside the Capitol sexually harassing them. That's cool if you think that. That's great. That's awesome. Like, you do your thing,
okay.
man.
Well, what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to actually talk to politicians that are in power so I can evoke change. So I feel like the legislation will get passed that is in, my moral authority or whatever I think is right for this country. You don't. So you and I are different. You want a Monday morning quarterback and say, oh, you should have harassed her in a different way. You should have made her uncomfortable a different way, her exact words.
Yeah, that's
So
what you should have
because
done.
these
You find
politicians-
ways to make people uncomfortable that applies pressure. That's not immoral or unethical.
Oh,
That's
so
what
I
you
should,
do.
in your sense, I should have burned down her office.
I never
That's
said
what
you should have
would've liked.
burned down an office. That's an extreme
You just
move
said
to
that was
take.
okay.
That's an
You just
I
said it
never
was
said.
okay
I didn't
for
say it's
BLM
okay
to burn down
I never said it's
government
okay
buildings.
I'm saying it's a form of justifiable outrage against the government, but that's only in extreme circumstances.
That's justified. You think it's justified to burn down a building?
Do you think it was justified? Do you think it was justified?
You don't think there's any
Do you think-
collateral more?
Do you think it was justified? Do you think it was justified to break into the Capitol on January 6th?
Do I think that was justified?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was justified, but I don't
You
think
don't
they're
think
gonna
breaking into the
decertify
Capitol? I want to
election.
hear that. You don't think in January 6th, you don't think the rioters had any justification to enter the Capitol building?
No, because they wouldn't have decertified the election. I don't think they should have done that. I think they were tricked to do that.
That's good. You take a stance against,
Now, and I guess the reason I brought that up is because when you're watching the appearance on Modern Day Debate, and that was a bigger panel. There was like 10 people there or whatever. But I think Alex at first was genuinely thought you were fucking around with him, basically that you were joking about the AOC thing, and he starts laughing, and then like it becomes clear that you're serious, and then the whole the energy changes obviously. But I think he thought that you were kidding at first about that, but you're not.
I did.
Yeah, you did. See, I mean, you can tell when you watch it that he thinks you're joking around.
I thought you were on my side, Destiny, when you said that. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is, he's sexually progressive. But no, you're not, dude. You're a hypocrite.
All right, now,
okay.
Now there's a
All right,
question.
I got one more.
And this is towards Alex. I mean, I think this is kind of a good question. Well, what would Alex say if someone did what he did to MAGA pogs like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Amy Coney Barrett, and Lauren I don't know about Amy Coney Barrett having the pog, but whatever. And Lauren Boebert. Is that fair game?
Well, I'm actually friends with MTG. I would consider her a friend of mine, and she said she gets called much worse. She gets called the C word, the B word, and people don't realize this. At the Capitol, anybody can walk right by those steps. Now, the White House has more security, but the Capitol doesn't. There's a lot of Capitol police around, but you can literally go up there and walk by them. So there's a lot of people on their bike trails, their walking trails that purposely walk by there. And in Washington, D.C., it's a liberal-leaning city. So there's restaurants where Marjorie Taylor Greene tries to go in, and they call her a bitch. They call her all these mean words. So it happens to her all the time, and she doesn't go to Instagram and make 10 Instagram stories about it because she knows how to handle it like a real professional, and it happens to her all the time. Unlike AOC that LARPs like it happens to her all the time, and the one time it does, she has to make the biggest stink about it possible.
All right, now let's see. I'll look for one for Destiny. This is a fair question. It's not really directly on topic, but it deals with AOC. Do both guests feel AOC is the future of the Democratic Party? Can she compete on a national level?
I'll
go first.
On how much she changes her shit and treats politics more seriously. I think she's made good strides. She could be in the future, but it's hard to say. She's also really far left compared to most of the parties. So,
what do you say?
I think she's too far left, but in a party that's gone so far left, I think she has a good chance of being successful. Sadly.
Yeah, if you watch, she's moderated a little bit though on some things. I think she's clearly planning for some national stuff.
Yeah, maybe. All right, am I good, Ralph? Am I free?
Yeah, you're good. I appreciate you.
Got cucked on the kill stream, Destiny. I hope I still like you, Destiny. Go.
Did you say? Were you okay with Marjorie Greene Taylor or being harassed, or Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Well, she gets harassed and she handles it a lot better.
Do you think it's okay for people to harass her? Just sexually harass her?
I think it's okay for people to, if they want to make her uncomfortable, that's their right.
If they want to go out and sexually harass her, do you think that's okay?
If that's their form of protesting, yeah, they're allowed to do that. Yeah.
No, do you think it's okay?
As long as it's not a crime. As long as I think it's okay. As long as they don't physically hurt her. Because sticks and stones may break my bones. With those black dicks in Milana's vagina, you get to sniff them after.
Have fun, buddy.
I hope you enjoy it. Go give her a kiss for me tonight.
Alex. Okay, Destiny, tell people where to find you. They already know, but just
youtube.com/Destiny. All right.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
See you later, buddy.
All right, see you later.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I was like 80% knowing that was going to be a fucking waste of time. I think I emailed Ralph and I was like, I think it's going to be a big meme debate. And he's like, oh, no. And I was like, okay. I'm going to go, Jim. I've I've broken free of the whole like Vosh and then crazy activist shit on Twitter. I think I've done a good job of that. I'm trying to like break out of like these communities. So I think I would do kill stream stuff if I know that it's like a more serious person, like Richard Spencer, somebody I'd probably do. But not this guy. This is dumb. But I'd already agreed to this, so but I shouldn't have. Fuck me. That's one of the worst comments you ever had. Yeah, but the guy is like a professional like troll memer, so I should have just avoided it. All right. Oh, I don't know if I can. Who's online? Interview. Oh, counterpoints. I wonder if it'll let me host him. Nice, based. Okay, counterpoint's a cool dude. I think he's slightly conservative. I don't know, but all right, have fun. What are we doing tomorrow? Oh wait, hold on. Follow my Twitter. Here you go. Very important, guys. I don't know why I'm posting on DGG chat. You guys should all be following. I have nothing scheduled for tomorrow, so probably just chill. All right, Representative Cappuccino, Pappuccino, Hoppuccino, Moppuccino, Depuccino, Cappuccino, Appuccino, my dude. I will catch you guys next stream arena tomorrow morning. Peace out.